Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the channel. So, starting with the analysis video for 20th of August 2023. So, securing digital economy is a very important theme. So, even like digital economy में आप सबसे पहले break करोगे what are different aspects of it. Digital health की आप बात करोगे, e-governance की आप बात करोगे, digital payments की आप बात करोगे. So, building the consensus is key to achieving this goal. Obviously, we need to be on the same page when we're talking about different stakeholders. And G20 Digital Economy Ministers Meet was conducted recently. So he launched Digital India for financial inclusivity as well. So I would say the keyword is that digital public sector services that we have. So that obviously includes Aadhaar card, the Jam Trinity that we talk about, that is also a component of it. So the Digital India campaign is launched in 2015. It was aimed at creating greater national financial inclusivity. So definitely this is going to be an important thing of financial inclusivity, and you talk about internet banking, mobile banking, and then obviously the growing reliance over the UPI payments and how RuPay cards that has also helped us in terms of financial inclusivity. So as digital economy spreads globally, it will face security threats and challenges also. So अब further आपको सोचना है कि what can be security threats and challenges because of digital economy. So how we can build a resilient digital economy, need to think about this as well. So these are basically different dimensions under this topic of digital economy. So one of the consequences or fallouts of the floods in Delhi is that the rate of dropouts from the school, it might increase because obviously books have been lost to the floods and children, they're on verge of dropping out of school. So again, here, what are the important stakeholders involved जिनका role important हो जाता है in order to ensure that children, they do not drop out from schools. So what needs to be done to ensure or to prevent dropouts? So one of the megalithic sites have been discovered in Kerala. So large number of megalithic hat stones, they were found from a single site during a recent salvage excavation, which was conducted by the Kerala State Archaeology Department. And hat stones, so popularly, they are known as Thopikallu. That is in Malayalam, they are called as Thopikallu, and these are hemispherical laterite stones which are used as lids on the burial urns during the megalithic period. So center has imposed 40% duty on the onion exports, and that is to offload the stocks. So levy, it will remain in force till 31st of December, and Consumers Affairs Secretary says the center has auctioned 2 truckloads in Azadpur, and the NAFED, it has also auctioned 3 truckloads. So apart from this, NCP leaders has also asked the government to ensure that there is remunerative prices are provided to the farmers. So onion exports पे 40% duty, again इसका क्या intended purpose है, इसके पीछे क्या purpose है, that needs to be understood. So imposition of 40% duty on onion exports is a step in order to reduce the onion exports so that domestically adequate amount of supply maintained रहे market में, and उसके लिए government ने apart from imposition of this duty on the exports, government ने भी कुछ can say जो buffer stock maintain किया जाता है उसको release किया है, and then again same has been done by NAFED as well. So ये सारी measures कहीं ना कहीं they would increase the supply of onion in the market, and जो demand supply वाली चीजें चलती है, the relationship. So when we see excess demand in the market, and that can be because of shortage of supply. So उसकी वजह से again उसके पीछे क्या factors है वो भी important हो जाते हैं, but this time obviously मतलब इस time period के दौरान these are some seasonal factors which are responsible behind the shortage in the supply of the onion. So in that case, we see कि prices they start shooting up in case of excess demand. So how we can basically even ensure जो supply chain की अगर हम बात करें, so how that needs to be smoothened out. So कुछ steps है जो government ले रही है. So strengthening of the global health architecture. इसमें again, this is one of the agendas at G20 summit. Health Ministry spearheads the unanimously adopted 25-point document at Gandhinagar meeting that was agreed by all the G20 delegations except for a contentious paragraph on the war in Ukraine. So you need to basically search for this document and look at what are these 25 points and how you can basically objectively use them in your answers. And apart from this, pandemic preparedness is going to be very important for the future pandemics. That's important. And WHO has also emphasized that we need to, focus or revive the importance of our traditional medicine systems as well. So that is also going to play an important role. So nations have committed to prioritizing climate resilient health systems. So please note down all these keywords. Then building sustainable and low carbon or low greenhouse gas emission health systems is another focus area. Healthcare supply chains that deliver high quality healthcare. So that is there. And then mobilizing the resources for resilient, low carbon, sustainable health systems, and then further facilitating collaboration. And global health infrastructure की जब हम बात करते हैं तो again access, equitable access to digital health is also an important component. So this will help in strengthening the mutual accountability to enhance the impact of future investments as well. The world page we are seeing. So Luna 25 is Russia's spacecraft. Again, this is also their moon mission. So you need to remember the name and the country, but it suffers some technical glitch. So that is one thing. Then apart from this, with muscle flexing, China, it stirs tensions with its neighbors. So from the South China Sea to the line of actual control, when we're talking about China's relations with its neighbors, China is forcefully pushing its territorial claims with the neighbors with the aim of dissuading their warming ties with the US. And again, this is also relevant in the context of Taiwan Strait, where we're seeing that US is trying to increase its closeness with Taiwan. So there we're seeing that tensions are flaring up, and it might lead to another war in future if things they don't remain under control. So this is something concerning for China, and that's again how it is reacting is that it is further trying to push its territorial claims over its neighbors. Now, on the science page, one of the things is that warming induced glacier retreat. It could create novel ecosystems. So, how it would be creating them, let's try to understand that. So climate change that is caused by human activity under a high emission scenario, it may halve the area that is covered by the glaciers outside Antarctic and Greenland ice sheets by the end of the century. So that is one of the major concerns, how we need to basically reversing that is going to be something too ambitious. But again, we can initially focus upon how can we reduce the rate of retreat of the glaciers because of warming atmosphere. So this will have marked ecological and societal cascading consequences. Obviously, with retreating glaciers, क्या possible consequences हो सकते हैं ecological and societal. So that is one thing. And however, there has been no complete spatial analysis that has been carried out to quantify या anticipate क्या important चेंज ओवर्स हो सकते हैं. तो इतना कोई अभी तक डिटेल स्टडी एनालिसिस नहीं की गई है. तो इकोलॉजिकल इम्पैक्ट की जब हम बात करते हैं, सो हाई एमिशंस ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस का एमिशंस इट इज इंक्रीजिंग. सो विद दैट वी एक्सपेक्ट अबाउट हाफ ऑफ द 2020 ग्लेशियर एरिया it could be lost by 2100. So this could be curbed by a low emission scenario, and which would reduce this loss to approximately 22%. So question is, how are we going to ensure that क्या steps लेने जाना important है, लिए जाना important है in order to slow down this retreating rate of glaciers. So जो यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं कि there is a possibility that retreating glaciers it could create novel ecosystems is that here we saw कि by 2100 we expect कि जो decline होगा of all the glaciers outside Antarctic and the Greenland ice sheets, उसकी वजह से we might see new terrestrial, marine and freshwater ecosystems creation over an area ranging from the size of Nepal to that of Finland. तो इतने area में we might expect new terrestrial या marine or freshwater ecosystems emerging. So that is also one of the possibilities, and we can take it to be a positive consequence of melting glaciers. So when we're talking about sugar, so it is also linked to slave trade, talking about its history. Then sugar versus sugarcane, which is much more, you can say, beneficial to our health. Then apart from this, again, what are the diseases which are caused because of high sugar intake? So when talk about the slave trade, so history of sugar, that is a food that nobody needs, but everyone it craves for. So that's obviously very true. We don't need too much of sugar, but everyone craves for it. So it is basically discussing how sugar it was produced in the Middle East and during the colonial times by slaves in West Indies and in Brazil. So that's how it was also, involved in slave trade. And at that point of time, बहुत ज़्यादा demand थी for the labor to cultivate this massive sugar plantations in Brazil and in Caribbean. So there were around 1 crore 25 lakhs and 70,000 humans they were shipped from Africa to the Americas between 1500 and 1867. So mortality rates, they were also very high at 25% while on journey. Then talking about sugar versus sugarcane. So in India, when we are obviously all familiar with sugarcane or coarse and crystal sugars, we also have jaggery, जिसको हम good बोलते हैं. Commonly it is known as good and is highly iron rich. So it is thought to be good for the health. मतलब एक आप sugar चीनी खा रहे हो जो white sugar है and you are consuming jaggery. So both are, we can say, product or byproduct of sugarcane, but again हेल्थ बेनिफिट्स की जब हम बात करते हैं तो जैगरी इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी मच मोर सेफर फॉर आवर हेल्थ. इट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी हेल्दी. सो टुडे पीपल दे आस्क वेदर कि इन दोनों में से कौन सा better है for the consumption. So here we see कि when talking about the benefits of jaggery, so it contains trace amounts of antioxidants and minerals which are lost during the refinement to sugar. So jaggery को और refine करके ही we get the white sugar, but जो हमें like antioxidants and minerals present होते हैं jaggery में, they are lost during this refinement process. So evaporation product of sugarcane juice जो है jaggery, that is often touted as being healthier than other forms of sugar since it has antioxidants, hai, vitamins rich and minerals are also present. So excess of sugar intake, it triggers release of insulin in the bloodstream, which can lead to vision loss also and diseases in the heart and kidney as well. So that's why it is suggested to go for less intake of sugar. And जब हम health hazards की बात करते हैं, obviously diabetes is first thing. Type 1 diabetes, it have to inject insulin in your blood, while type 2 diabetes may have to carefully manage their blood glucose and use substitutes like stevia glycoside or sucralose. So that's there. Now, another important topic is why the recent BRICS summit is going to be important for India, which would be held in South Africa. So certain questions that we're trying to find answered through this article includes that will India and China, they have the opportunity to have bilateral talks on regarding the line of actual control dispute. But the recent talks, the bilateral talks that we have had between India and China, we have not seen any successful outcomes out of that. So how is it going to make a difference when you'll be having a bilateral talks, or how BRICS can help? And so how will fruitful discussions they have a bearing on the G20 summit? Again, BRICS summit और G20 summit के बीच में क्या impact होगा दोनों का एक दूसरे के ऊपर? And will the Russian President Vladimir Putin attend the BRICS summit or not? So on the agenda is BRICS expansion. This is one thing, expansion of its members, with consensus growing about inclusion of countries like Iran, Argentina, and UAE and Saudi Arabia. So 15th BRICS summit, क्यों इतना important है? So this BRICS meet, it comes at an important geopolitical and geo-economic moment. And this is the first in-person summit since 2019 and COVID-19 pandemic. So this is one of the reasons why it becomes important कि जो globally geopolitical और geo-economic situation and circumstances आज हैं, that is why this is one of the important summits of late. And 2022 में भी जब COVID-19 had receded, the remnants of the pandemic that still remained in China. So summit, it was hosted via video conference even in 2022. And this is also going to be the first in-person meeting since this beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war. So because of this war, we have seen that it has impacted the global stability, both food, fertilizer, and fuel security has been impacted because of this war. So given कि जो BRICS के deliberations they are perceived to carry a counter-Western slant, and it will be of importance as US and European Union, they still hope to try and isolate Russia over the conflict. So कहीं ना कहीं, this is also an emerging agenda. Yeah, we can say a thing that is related to BRICS, ki whether it is going to be anti-Western or not. And also this is going to be the first summit after the return of Lula as the president of Brazil, and who is seen more as more socialist, anti-Western, considered comparing to the predecessor President Bolsonaro. So India के लिए again क्या important चीजें होने वाली है during the BRICS summit? So this is the first in-person summit होने वाला है since the military standoff with China. The line of actual control began in 2020. So this is one of the reasons why it becomes important for India. And Prime Minister Modi will also come face to face with the President Xi Jinping at the BRICS meet. So Shanghai Cooperation Organization का summit भी हुआ था, but again that was via video conference, virtual summit किया गया था. So possibility of bilateral talks हो सकता है. Apart from this, it would also play a significant role in terms of resolving the LAC situation, where we're seeing an estimated 1 lakh soldiers. They stand at the boundary on either side. Apart from this, India, it will be soon hosting the G20 summit as well. So before that, the BRICS summit, even the outcomes of it, that becomes important. So that's there. And in addition to this, India wants more cooperation from China and Russia that are blocking the discussions on a common language for the leaders' declaration to be released at the summit on September 9 and 10. So this is in the context of G20. So वहाँ पे India के लिए challenge है. तो again, BRICS summit में we'll see कि how the countries they would be behaving, specifically China and Russia, because they are kind of challenging a common language. So common language for the leaders declaration, मतलब common communique के ऊपर थोड़ा problems हो सकती हैं. So apart from this, Prime Minister, he can also use the BRICS summit for raising issues regarding the Ukraine war, climate change, debt financing, and others that are being held up by their objections. So what is going to be one of the big items on the agenda for the BRICS summit? So one is going to be the BRICS expansion. Apart from this, BRICS currency, a common currency that is also being thought upon. BRICS plus dialogue is another thing, and BRICS Africa outreach. These are some of the emerging areas. So new development banks, again, this is also a byproduct of BRICS. Then there is contingency reserve arrangement for the currency, and this is an R&D center for vaccine analysis. So these are all the byproducts of BRICS, which are some of the significant steps taken by BRICS. Then again, yesterday also we took up this topic, BRICS versus G7. So in terms of the contribution to the global economy, we saw that is somewhere the share stands around 31%. Both are somewhere close to each other. We can see BRICS currency to challenge the dollar. It does not appear to be on the agenda of late. But again, this is also one of the new areas जहाँ पे discussions possible हैं. BRICS and Africa partnership for mutually accelerated growth, sustainable development, inclusive multilateralism. It seeks to introduce initiatives in its priority areas like equitable and just transition on climate change, unlocking potentials and opportunities through African continental free trade area, strengthening meaningful participation of women in the peace processes. So women-led development, importance of the role of women and their presence in peace processes. And Indian officials, they will also look out for the language proposed by China, by far the biggest economy in the grouping, to promote Beijing's key initiatives like Belt and Road Initiative, New Global Development Initiative as part of an economy roadmap for the BRICS. So India के stand की बात करें on this, so we have refused to sign on to an economy roadmap at the SCO meeting also that was shared by India in July 2023 for the same reasons. So how is Supreme Court tackling the gender stereotyping? So in terms of usage of words, uske regarding Supreme Court ने एक handbook release करी है. So it is basically includes कि जो अभी commonly used words हैं, which are promoting gender stereotyping, so they shouldn't be used commonly, specifically in the judicial prudence. And handbook जो release की गई है उसमें जो terms use की जानी चाहिए instead of terms that are currently being used, तो वो mention की गई है. So new guidelines issue की गई है on the usage of the words, but again only releasing a handbook and saying कि ये terms use की जानी चाहिए. Much more important या इसके साथ के साथ we also require कि attitude and behavior that also needs to be changed. So collectively, it can bring much more effective results. So how should sexual violence be looked at? So handbook का कहना ये है कि an individual who has been affected by the sexual violence may identify as either a survivor or a victim. So stressing on consent, guidelines point out कि clothing or attire of women, they must be independent of the questions of the sexual relations. So a man who touches a woman without her consent must not be permitted to take the defense that the woman invited his touch by dressing in a particular way. So regarding dressing, it mentions about that. So why are stereotypes harmful? So it is being said that stereotypes leads to exclusion and discrimination at the workplace. Education institutions में देखने को मिलता है, public places में भी discrimination देखने को मिलता है. So it is also cited when the examples of stereotype that individuals from the oppressed caste, they are not as accomplished in schools or university in comparison to the individuals from the oppressor castes. So this, it says, it may cause members of oppressed caste to face additional mental pressure when writing an examination. So that's how it creates exclusion and how the discrimination even impacts the mind and the mental health of the people who are being oppressed. Then we'll talk about the Supreme Court judgments kya rahi hai regarding stereotypes, breaking stereotypes. So Supreme Court, it has highlighted verdicts jahan pe it has rejected the stereotypes and which can be utilized by judges to shun the gender stereotypes. For instance, we have one of the judgments of Joseph Shine versus Union of India. So Constitution Bench, it struck down offense of adultery under Section 497 of the IPC. So here it observed that law on adultery was but a codified rule of patriarchy. It said that society ascribes impossible virtues to women and confines her to a narrow sphere of behavior by an expectation of conformity. Then in another judgment of State of Jharkhand versus Shailendra Kumar Rai, court, it reiterated its categorical ban on two-finger test and said it was irrelevant to determination of rape and that it violated dignity of the rape survivors of the victims. Then in another judgment under the State of Punjab versus Gurmeet Singh, it held that testimony of a rape survivor or victim is inherently credible. So delay in launching an FIR can be due to a variety of reasons, it said. So these are three main judgments that we talked about where Supreme Court in a way tried to break these gender stereotypes. So actual क्या impact होने वाला है on the ground, that is much more important for us. So an IS officer says that it is a great first step. So as a first step, that is something which is great. So the table in the handbook, it lays down stereotypes kya hai and what is the reality in two columns side by side. So that is an important takeaway for the IS officer because it removes so many qualifiers that judge the woman. So it is the highest court of the land is going to have an impact. So slow impact, yeah, slow changes हमें देखने को मिल सकते हैं, but again coming from Supreme Court, so it would be definitely, it has its own credibility and significance. So it will lead to a mindset change. However, it will be slow because language is a powerful tool. So cotton supply situation is comfortable so far. Again, cotton cultivation में सबसे पहला basic question है, what are the climatic conditions which is suitable for cultivation of cotton? Major cotton growing states कौन सी है? And then you can also search about cotton exports and the textile firms, the cotton textile firms their locations, why are they located at that particular place, also like what are the factors that influence the location of such industry. So you can find out about it. And apart from this, SEMA, that is the Southern India Mills Association, that is there. And you need to also find out about whether MSP is provided for cotton or not. So coming to Financial Express. So norms have been set for green hydrogen. अब green hydrogen mission है, तो this is a very often repeated topic. Green hydrogen basic definition, different types of hydrogen क्या होती है, gray hydrogen, brown hydrogen, blue hydrogen, green hydrogen exist करती है. So that is there. उनके बीच में क्या difference है वो पता होना important है. कैसे ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन को प्रोड्यूस किया जाता है, उसके पीछे का प्रोसेस आपको पता होना चाहिए. इट इज प्रोड्यूस थ्रू इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस. So उसमें कोई ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस emissions नहीं होती है. That's why it is called green hydrogen. So it is defined as having 1:2 CO2 emissions. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, it is notified green hydrogen standard for India, outlining emission thresholds for producing of the hydrogen that can be classified as green. So for that, standards has been released. So India became one of the few countries to have a definition of green hydrogen. So India has become the few countries to have a definition for green hydrogen. Apart from this, we've also launched the National Green Hydrogen Mission to produce 5 MMT green hydrogen per annum with associated renewable energy capacity of 125 gigawatts by 2030. So ministry has decided to define green hydrogen. So definition kya hai? Green hydrogen ki that has been given by the ministry is that it is one which is having well to gate emissions of not more than 2 kg carbon dioxide equivalent per kg hydrogen. So ये होगा technical definition again. Green hydrogen की क्या है? So यहाँ पे it is defined as having 1:2 carbon dioxide emissions. Then role of Bureau of Energy Efficiency is important है. आप इसका again, it is under the Ministry of Power. It will be the nodal authority. तो Bureau of Energy Efficiency का क्या role है, क्या structure है, क्या nature है, composition है, वो आप find out करोगे. So Vocal for Local is going to resound at the upcoming G20 summit. Food for thought, you can see we are having diversity in terms of food availability. So even that will be getting a push when you're talking about the local delicacies. So hotels are ready with the special menus. So here again, how it can play an important role even in terms of promotion of millets. That's going to be something important. So Prime Minister calls India as an ideal testing lab for solutions. So how again you can interpret this phrase, ideal testing lab for solutions? Again, you can connect this thing with research and development. You can connect it with COVID-19 vaccines. Then in terms of, new innovations in case of technological aspects, even there it fits in. So these can be some of the possible areas how you can interpret it. So here from the cultural history, when you talk about Indian paintings, so some of the record-breaking Indian paintings have been presented in front of you. So in the ever-shifting realm of art, price records prove fleeting. So in terms of, prices are also mentioned. So for us, prices are not important. The relevance of these paintings, the message that they're trying to portray is important. And where are they coming from? Their origin, their sources is important. So you can just quickly go through it. So again, this is something practical topic. What chemicals are good for your skin? So products like retinol, hyaluronic acid, and vitamin C serums, they are becoming common in skincare routines. So what works for others may not work for you. So that's true. So being cautious and well informed, that can really help you. So what are the important components of the sunscreen basics apart from sun protection? Sunscreen also helps in dealing photo aging, development of fine lines and wrinkles. So when it is used religiously, sunscreens, they can also be reported to reduce the risk of certain skin cancers. So such as a scale of impact of usage of a sunscreen, but obviously that has to be on consistent basis. Then you need to apply a liberal amount of sunscreen on your face and body, reapply after every 3 hours, even when you are indoors also. So this is a myth that when you're stepping out only then you need to apply a sunscreen. No, even if you are indoors, even then it holds relevance. Then apart from this, you don't have to apply your sunscreen just before stepping out in the sun, as chemical sunscreens, they take 10 to 20 minutes to form a protective layer on your skin. So immediate protection and stepping out, immediate application and stepping out would not help you much. And don't blindly follow the SPF rating. Your dermatologist is the best to recommend one based on your skin type. So just going by the SPF rating is not the only basis of choosing the appropriate sunscreen. So here hyaluronic acid also an important thing whose demand is increasing. So what are the benefits of using hyaluronic acid? So this is again an anti-aging product. So interestingly, this gel-like substance, it is naturally occurring and it is the most abundant type of glycosaminoglycans, GAGs, which are found in the dermins. So these are long unbranched carbohydrates which are called polysaccharides. So it is produced by the fibroblast along with the collagen and elastin, and it forms extracellular matrix, which is a woven kind of fibrous structure providing structure to the skin. So it's made up of polysaccharides and disaccharides chain to form a coiled structure, and it has the ability to hold up to 1000 times its own weight in water, and that's why it provides hydration to your skin. Then importance of vitamin C serum. So even if you're even slightly into the skincare game, you must have heard of the so-called elixir, which is called vitamin C serum. So although the vitamin, it is part of the diet also, like we always talk about citrus food, which are really a good source of vitamin C. But again, when we're talking about hair in terms of serum, so how it is different, how again it is important, and definitely how it's going to be right for your skin is important. So topical application is considered, and the ingredient is said to be safe for all skin types. It comes with myriad benefits, so it may help slow early skin aging, prevent sun damage, improve the appearance of wrinkles, dark spots, acne. So that's there, some of the benefits of vitamin C. So beating anemia specifically, again, we are having a proper policy regarding it. And how smart diet tricks can help improve iron absorption. So merely, intaking of iron is not going to help. Iron absorption inside your body also is going to ultimately, will get the results. Majorly, they depend upon the rate of iron absorption inside your body. So complications and challenges of chronic anemia क्या है? That has been mentioned. Fatigue and weakness जैसा आपको feel होगा, reduced cognitive functions, cardiovascular complications face होंगी, shortness of breath and dizziness, then complications during pregnancy, worsening of pre-existing conditions, impaired wound healing. So what are the dietary do's and don'ts to enable maximum absorption of iron? So this is the key area. You need to consume hemi-iron sources. Matlab hemi-iron found in animal-based foods like red meat, poultry, and fish. That's easily absorbed than the non-hemi-iron, which is found in the plant-based foods. मतलब कि जो animal-based foods में iron मिलता है, that is easily absorbed by the body compared to the plant-based foods which are rich in iron. Then you need to pair iron with vitamin C. And you need to include fermented foods, cook in cast iron cookware, do not use non-sticks and all of that. And avoid consuming iron blockers. So iron blockers कौन से हैं? Iron blockers, it includes tannins, which are found in tea, coffee, and some herbal teas as well. And as well as phytates, which are found in whole grains, legumes, and nuts. So these are iron blockades. Then you need to avoid calcium and iron together. Calcium individually is important, but consumption of iron and calcium together is not something which is suitable. So, because calcium can interfere with iron absorption, so that's why it is being suggested you do not consume both the things together. Coming to the Indian Express newspaper. So new investments की अगर हम बात करें तो top 5 states में UP and Gujarat are also part of it, and Kerala and Assam they are at the bottom. So North East में कैसे हम attract कर सकते हैं private investments को, that needs to be thought about. And even Kerala is amongst the bottom states. So why is it so ये सोचना important है. So almost 80% surge जो हमें देखने को मिली है new investments में, 5 states they account for 57% of the share. तो यहाँ पे even in terms of investment also we're seeing inequality and variations of, like you see कि top 5 states में 57% of the investment जा रहा है. तो the inequality is such huge thing यहाँ पे, and again यहाँ पे अब इस चीज को भी आप कैसे एड्रेस करोगे, that is also important. So networks of terror, they intersect with the drug supply lines, ground pay from sky and online. So with the drone technology, it is also being misused for drugs trade. So drones, they drop to illegal pharmacies and courier chains roping in the addicts. And Jammu and Kashmir, mein, again, we are seeing a rise in cases of the drug addicts. This is one of the new emerging challenge in Jammu and Kashmir. सो फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स की अगर हम बात करें उनकी इफेक्टिवनेस की, कितना वो डिलीवर कर पाए हैं, वो एक मतलब ब्रॉडर सेंस में ऑब्जेक्टिवली दिस इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक. सो वी आर सीइंग कि स्पेशली इन केस ऑफ रेप एंड पॉक्सो ऑफेंसेस में जो दिल्ली के स्पेशल फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स हैं, दे हैव पुअर डिस्पोजल रेट. So they are not performing up to the mark or as per expectations. So here we having the number of pendency the cases. Special fast track courts in Delhi there are 16 and e-POXO courts भी establish किए गए हैं. So मतलब आपको ऑब्जेक्टिवली सोचना है ओवरऑल इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में स्पेशल फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स की क्या इफेक्टिवनेस रही है. So reality of school life is that girls from Dumka school, they have said कि guards, teachers, they abuse them, and principal seeks money for alcohol. So this is coming from Jharkhand, Dumka district. They have registered an FIR against this on this issue against four male teachers of a residential school in the district over alleged sexual harassment. So even schools are not safe for girls. So, topic from history, how Bhakti movement flourished under the Mughals. So, this is something conceptual and factual thing. So, you can just go through this article once. इसमें interpretation में I don't think so there's going to be much difficulty here. So China conducts military drills in response to Taiwan vice president's trip to US. So China के लिए आज के टाइम में सबसे बड़ा concern is this growing closeness between US and Taiwan. So we have seen rise in our forex reserves to 700. Sorry, they stand at $602 billion. So components क्या है हमारे forex reserves के, again कौन से factors है जो influence करते हैं forex reserves को, that is important for us to understand. So gold ke reserves, they have declined. Special drawing rights, they were up. And expressed in dollar terms, so foreign currency assets जो है, that includes effect of appreciation or depreciation का impact होता है on the non-US units like euro, pound, yen, which are held in the forex reserves. So it is not just the US dollar, these currencies are also a part of the forex reserves of India. So service quality rules का review किया जा रहा है by the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, which is the regulator of the telecom sector. So it is said that it has been receiving a number of call drop complaints from subscribers, triggering the need to review the existing quality of service rules so that जो network performance है उसको फिर से अच्छे से critically reassess किया जाए district level पे, and also bring 4G and 5G services under the ambit. So call drop rates has been increasing. That is one of the concerns regarding the service quality delivery in the telecom sector. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and you subscribe to the channel and keep watching.